This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.
At the heart of Lagos City, in the business district of Victoria Island, Tiara Culture is growing into a hub for the performing arts in Nigeria.
There's no society that is whole without arts or religion or culture.
Bolanle Austen Peters has created that platform where shows are running every month. Different things are happening right here at the Tiara Arena.
She's brought a lot of youngsters' dream to life.
For self-taught theatre director Bolanle Austen Peters, her quest to revolutionize the theatre industry in Nigeria is coming along quite fine. Nigeria is an established powerhouse in the production of films. Its film industry is known as Nollywood and produces over 1,000 films every year.
How did I get in this process? Because I know I didn't shoot this movie.
However, the success of film has come at an expense of the theatre industry that was popular in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Someone is impersonating me. You.
But one lady is determined to ensure that the theatrical and visual arts industry in Nigeria regains its lost glory. Today, Bolanle is busy rehearsing for a brand new musical based on a historical heroine. The opening of this show is in 3 weeks' time, and there is a lot yet to be done. Actors still don't have their lines, and musical pieces are yet to be fully integrated into the drama. Bolanle Austen Peters is a theatre director championing a theatrical renaissance in Nigeria. She began her career after studying at the University of Lagos and the London Institute for her Masters in Law. From 1994 to 2001, Bolanle worked for the United Nations Development Programme and was based in Switzerland. While abroad, she saw how Western countries created visual stories from folktales and folklore for consumption in cinema and theatre.
I'd been practicing law. I came back to Nigeria. I wasn't very comfortable with the legal system here and the way it was being practiced, right? That was the real issue. I looked for something that I enjoyed, and I found out that really I've always loved the arts. As a child, literature, history, those are the things that really captured my attention.
She returned to Nigeria in 2002 and started working in the development sector. She soon realized that her passion was actually in culture and the visual arts.
I think for a long time, there was a hunger for stage. But somehow the products that we had wasn't connecting with the audience. So what was happening was theater was still in the 60s and 70s style. But Vegas came. They brought tech into theater. They brought massive lighting, massive choreography. That's really what they're doing. It's performance.
Las Vegas in the United States is regarded as one of the most advanced locations for stage entertainment in the world. This is because they have perfected the art of integrating technology such as lights, sound effects, and motion graphics into their performances. And that's what she did. Copying the Las Vegas style of creating entertainment and beauty, she infused lighting, music, and high-tech visuals into the live performance.
When I wanted to start my own theater, I said to people, I'm not trying to be Shakespearean. I'm not a PhD student in theater. All I want to do is create enjoyment, beauty.
In 2003, she set up Tiara Culture, an organization that would help her in the journey towards creating a brand that would be appreciated by many theater lovers.
That's right. Yes.
Your Excellency. Your Excellency, sir.
Tosa.
So when Bolanle entered into the Nigerian theater scene, she opted to do her plays the Las Vegas way.
So that is why I started doing musicals with an infusion of technology. The second thing is, we started realizing that African stories are now very popular. I think the West are sated with their own type of stories, so they're looking towards us. And for a long time, we abandoned our own stories and our culture because we've been made to believe that our culture and our stories, to all intents and purposes, are fetish.
And musicals they did. From 2013, Bolanle and the Tiara Culture team created the first grand musical piece in Nigeria with over 100 cast members called Saro the Musical. Saro the Musical is about the struggle of 4 men who came to settle in Lagos so as to pursue a musical career. Saro the Musical was quickly followed by its sequel, Saro the Musical 2 in 2014, and then Waka the Musical in 2016. Waka the Musical was a political satire that ridiculed the political landscape in Nigeria. And in 2018, Fela and the Kalakuta Queens was produced. This musical was based on the story of famed musician Fela Kuti and his 27 wives. Bolanle's plays were so popular in Nigeria that they started getting invitations to perform at various countries around the world.
We've worked with theater in Europe. We've taken it to London. I think we're going to Egypt next 2 weeks' time. And again, we might be going to South Africa at some point early next year. So with theater, we seem to see a lot more opportunities opening up for that.
Having noted a need to tell African stories, Bolanle and the Tiara Culture team are working on a musical called Moremi. This is a musical play based on a historical heroine from the Yoruba tribe of Nigeria called Moremi Ajashoro.
The ethos of Moremi's story is sacrifice, giving back. You know, a lot of times, a lot of us complain. We complain about our society. We complain about what is not right. But what are we also giving back? You must give up something that is very dear to you if you want to progress your society. You know, everybody has to give a little bit of something.
The lead cast of the musical Moremi will be played by two performers, Tosin Adeyemi and Kehinde Bankole.
Every day we hear a cry in the far distance, the cry of a mother mourning the loss of her son, and I don't want that cry to come from this heart.
Since the performances last between 2 to 3 hours for one show, the cast need to be rotated, especially on days where there are two shows back to back.
So for me, I started acting 16 years ago, and I started with TV. So from TV, I knew I wanted more. I wanted film, but at the same time also, there's a love that stage performance gives.
I've been acting professionally for 5 to 6 years. I studied theater arts in university. And then while in school, I used to do productions for different production outfits. And then, so basically, that's my story. And then I found myself here auditioning for a role, and here I am.
People like Bolanle Austen Peters continue to create materials that allow us to wander back home all the time. You could go into film, as we are doing now, go into television, but we'll always come back and look for materials that are original, materials that speak about us. And then we pour everything into it, and the show happens.
Just like the lead actors, the lead support actors will also be played by two actors, Hector Amiweru and Ayola Ayolola, who play the role of Moremi's husband.
What are you doing?
It's what you started.
And like the two ladies, they have different backgrounds, culminating in their own individual brilliance for the show.
It reminds me of the hunter that I married.
My name is Hector Amiweru. I'm an actor. Well, I just finished in service, and I'm looking to go into the industry.
My first ever film would be in 2010. It was my first ever TV appearance. It was a TV show. I was there for a short while, and then I went on to audition, and I was on Teen Cell for about 2 months or 3 months. Then, while I was doing this, I was also singing. I was also pushing my music. I've always been an independent artist. I put music on hold to focus on movies and TV, and I've been getting good reviews so far.
Oh, your son is still awake.
Lagos in Nigeria is the most populous city in Africa, with a population of over 20 million people. Perched on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean, Lagos first developed as a port city and later into an administrative city of Nigeria. At the heart of Lagos City, in the business district of Victoria Island, Tiara Culture is growing into a hub for the performing arts in Nigeria.
I wanted a name that depicted Earth, something new, something fresh. So Terra is the Latin version of that. And culture, the reason why you have K there is because in trying to register the company at the Corporate Affairs Commission, they didn't have Tiara Culture with a C.
Tiara Culture is an all-round culture center comprising of a theater auditorium, a restaurant, a library, and an art gallery. The auditorium sits about 450 people when filled to capacity. The Tiara Culture restaurant only serves indigenous Nigerian cuisines. Rising from the center of the restaurant is a spiral staircase that leads to the art gallery and the library on the upper floor. Interestingly, the toilets are strategically placed at the far corner of the gallery, which is lined up with beautiful artworks for sale.
You know, a lot of art centers in the world are funded, but in Nigeria, nobody funds art centers. So you have to look for a model that is self-sustaining. So the founder, Bolanle Austen Peters, now added the restaurant, you know, because people have to eat. Even if the art is not selling, people have to eat. So the center is functional.
Everywhere in the world, people recognize that you have to fund the arts to sustain it. Somehow we haven't figured that out here. It's impossible to do shows for 12 days and expect that you make a financial return on it, because the cost of staging it exceeds the cost of revenue, and exceeds the revenue that you make back.
Will not leave us without help. Arise. Arise. Play. The king who will pray will not leave us.
We've been running plays here at Tiara Culture for pretty much over 10 years. We used to have plays every Sunday. We called the Theater at Terra. So every Sunday there's a live play here. When we had a small box-like space that we used for the theater, and then we pulled it down at some point and built the space we have now. Then we've done quite a number of shows as well, both locally and internationally. We've taken our shows to London a couple of times, and we go to Abuja, we go around. And we are hoping we can go further to the US, to South Africa, Kenya, other parts of the world with our play.
But what really is Moremi, the story, all about? The story of Moremi is an iconic tale of wit and perseverance of the Yoruba community from Western Nigeria. Rotimi Adilego, one of the co-producers of the play, and who also acts the role of a king in the story, knows the deep history of Moremi's story.
Moremi is the story of a queen in the ancient Yoruba. The origin of Yorubas is known as Ile-Ife. But at that point in time, Ife was ravaged by savages. They come periodically to capture people in this town of Ile-Ife, make them slaves and sell them away. And that has been going on for years, even when Moremi's father was a young man. So it continued over and over again. So at a point in time, when she was a grown lady, she took it upon herself to help salvage the situation.
She sacrificed her husband, her son, her family, sacrificed her people. She left them and, you know, went to be a slave. She was a slave in another community entirely for years, you know, just so that she could have leverage on them and know why this particular community kept attacking her own community. So she went there and came back with their secret.
Told her people at Ile-Ife that the only thing that can stop these raiders was fire. And so everybody took their bow and arrow, and she led them with a bushel of fire, like the Statue of Liberty. So they went back to their captors and they burnt that place down. And that was the last time they heard of them. They're called Ugbo people. Ugbo people. On returning home, she became a queen to the king that she met on the throne. And over the years, she's been celebrated. Every university in Western Nigeria has a hall or an admin block named after her, Moremi and.
So if not for her, Ile-Ife will not be, if not for Moremi.
There comes a time in the life of a people or a group where revolution is the only way. And you just need that one person to spearhead it, and then everyone follows. In America, for the black race, we had Martin Luther King. In South Africa, we had Mandela. In Yoruba land, Ife, at the time, we had Queen Moremi.
But most important is the declaration that Moremi is actually the story behind the famed Statue of Liberty at the New York Harbor. The Yoruba claim that the image was copied by the French, who got the story from them.
The Westerners came here, heard the story, and took it back. Now, you tell me, what is the story behind the Statue of Liberty? A Greek gift from the French to the Americans? What's the story? Who is Statue of Liberty? That story is authentically Moremi and. Believe it or not.
I know right now you are sad. Now you think Mama is bad. But some things cannot be said, no, even though they cause us pain.
Have you mind that we need the recording here for the trailer? Okay? Are you recording in there? Yeah, no, ma'am.
May Simiri continue to protect you, my son.
Bolanle is about to close rehearsals for the day. She is going through the final paces of blocking. But before concluding the rehearsals, she must go through the wardrobe.
You can bring them out. Let's see how we can make them work.
Bolanle and the wardrobe team have single-handedly designed all the costume and accessory pieces for all the musicals that have been done at Tiara Culture.
How many of those things do we have?
The wardrobe and costume room has more than 5,000 pieces of wardrobe and is quite an expensive asset of the center.
That we used for Fela, the one that's
Although visibly worn out,
where are the ones that we just got?
Bolanle personally selects the bits and pieces of wardrobe she needs for the show. Her wardrobe and costume team is made up of some of the most talented fashion designers from Nigeria.
My boss is a perfectionist. You have to design and design and design before she will be comfortable with one, you know. For Moremi has like just 8 costumes, but we did almost 20 costumes for Moremi before she was okay, it's fine.
We costume from head to toe, so everything has to be in place before the show starts. We started costuming immediately our rehearsal started, which was a month ago, and it's been awesome.
It was actually easier for me because I'm a Yoruba girl and I'm really cultured, so I know a lot of the things we're using. We visited a lot of markets, Bodija markets and Bere markets in Ibadan and Oje. That is where they produce all this traditional attire.
The tie wrapper. They put that around your waist. Put it around you. No. Tight. Okay. Yes. So a lot of times I don't look at the financials. I look at the product. So when people are saying, we've spent enough now. I mean, my costume team, Itunu is here. They'll be like, it's okay. It's okay. Let's leave it like it's okay now. No, it's not okay. Everybody has to look the same. If we're going to have gold shoes for everybody, everybody must be in the same gold shoes. If we're going to have white, do what you have to do. If we make a loss, it's okay. It will always pay back later on in future.
This is actually a special one because the interpretation is different, costuming is different, the choreography, everything is different, but we marry everything together and it's becoming something that Nigerians need to see, Nigerians need to watch. So it's spectacular. That alone is giving me goosebumps.
I'm really happy that it's like my story. I'm a Yoruba girl. This is Yoruba culture.
For self-taught theatre director Bolanle Austen Peters, her quest to revolutionize the theatre industry in Nigeria is coming along quite fine.
When I started running Terra, I started discovering myself. I realized that I'm a strong visualizer. Every Sunday I would come here, I'll watch a play, and invariably I started asking myself, could I do better than what I'm seeing? And I thought, yes, I can. You know, I have what it takes. I can see what I want to actualize. I've been around the world. I've lived around Nigeria. You know, I know about culture and I know about aesthetics, you know, and I'm very good with costuming. That what could possibly be stopping me? So it's that innate talent that we all have that we don't realize we have until we step out or we're given the opportunity to do so. And in doing so, I find out that directing is probably the easiest thing for me to do than producing.
But for now, she has to make sure that her musical play is ready before opening night in a week's time.
Lights, can you get her, can you turn everything dark and then focus there?
Today, it's dress rehearsal, and the actors will do some fitting and rehearse their bits. No more scripts are allowed on stage, and the cast are expected to have learnt their lines by now.
We have a beautiful culture and tradition and heritage, and it's good to tell these stories because I learned a lot more about us, Yoruba people.
We have to stamp our feet on the sand of life to say, Africans have always been great people and will continue to be great people.
There's no society that is whole without arts or religion or culture. It's also the foundation of every society. You must know who you are and where you're coming from to know where you're headed. And maybe part of our problems is the fact that we no longer know who we are.
Bolanle seems to be happy with the proceedings, and therefore the stage is set to do the final bits of polishing and then get ready for the opening night in a week's time.